Hello, my name is Glenn Lee Roberts, and I wrote this book, How to Renounce Your United States Citizenship in 2 Easy Steps, because I've gone through the process and discovered it was a lot easier to do than what most people talking about it online have to say. And there's really 2 significant parts to it, and I'm going to describe and sort of reenact the most important part here on this video, and that part will be the oath of renunciation, or as they will call it at the embassy, the Renunciation Ceremony. But first of all, you'll have to go through filling out some paperwork, which really isn't very complicated, and then the U.S. Council will read you a notice of all the reasons why you shouldn't renounce your citizenship. And they have 12 points on this, and I include copies of all of the documents in my book, including the forms that I actually filled out and signed to do my renunciation. So you can see exactly how easy it is, and you can see exactly the 12 reasons why you shouldn't renounce your citizenship. And after you've completed that at your first meeting, at the interview, you'll go back at least a week later, and then you can actually participate in the ceremony and renounce your citizenship. And before I get into that, I'm going to read from the U.S. State Department manual on renouncing citizenship, the section that talks about where to conduct the ceremony. And the entire manual is included in my book, so you can see in the State Department's own words how they go about doing the process. So to read this, site of renunciation. Setting. Renunciation procedures should always be held at post. They should always be done inside the embassy, in a setting that reminds the renunciant of the gravity of the consequences. So even though they've told you all the reasons you shouldn't renounce, and you've certainly studied it on your own, they want to have an environment. It's not going to be friendly with Amazonian art or anything. It's going to be an office with a official of the United States there. U.S. flag. The flag should be present. So you're not going to have a nice design here, but the flag of the United States at this ceremony. It's a formal ceremony. It's a legal ceremony. It's much like the ceremony for those who become citizens of the United States. And then the person renouncing, stand and raise your right hand. If possible, the renunciant should stand and raise his or her right hand while taking the oath of renunciation. This formality and the symbols of the United States underscore that the renunciant is severing all ties of allegiance to the United States, and in doing so loses the protections the United States government provides to citizens and non-citizen nationals. In other words, it's a very formal, very serious ceremony. And the ceremony, however serious and formal it is actually very quick and very easy. And I'll do a little reenactment of exactly what I went through in the ceremony. And in this case, rather than speaking to the U.S. official, I'll be speaking to the video camera. And this oath of affirmation of renunciation of nationality of the United States. This is the actual document that I read and that I signed at the U.S. Consul. It has my signature, it has the Consul's signature, and the seal of the United States. So this here today is the actual document that I read to the United States, and at the moment I completed reading this document, I was no longer a citizen of the United States. So you can see exactly how easy, simple, and straightforward the process is. I will pretend that I'm doing it again, and why not? I, Glenn Lee Roberts, a national of the United States, solemnly swear affirm that I was born at Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County, Michigan, on May 5th, 1962, that I formerly resided in the United States at 166 Plum Street, Oil City, Pennsylvania, 16301, that I am a national of the United States by virtue of birth in the United States. I and this is the important part. I desire and hereby make a formal renunciation of my U.S. nationality as provided by Section 349A5 of the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952, as amended and pursuant thereto. I hereby absolutely and entirely renounce my United States nationality, together with all rights and privileges and all duties and allegiance and fidelity thereunto pertaining. I make this renunciation intentionally, voluntarily, and of my own free will, free of any duress or undue influence. I'm no longer an American citizen. After finishing reading this, I sign this and the other papers along with the U.S. official. He applies his seal, and then I left the United States Embassy with none other than Certificate of Loss of Nationality of the United States, listing my name and address and so forth, stating that I'm no longer a citizen of the United States, with the signature of the official of the United States, the seal of the United States of the Embassy, and this was provided to me as evidence of no longer being a United States citizen. Of course, then they also sent it to Washington, D.C., and it took Washington, D.C. 15 months to come back and have them apply a stamp saying that it was approved. But as of this date that I took the oath, no more American citizen. In my case, because I had no other nationality, that meant that that day I entered the United States Embassy as an American citizen, and when I left a couple of hours later, I left without any nationality at all. That may not be the choice you want to make, but the option's there. The process is simple. The difficulty is making the decision.